Welcome back to Zandvoort for one more race in the GB3 Championship, a reverse grid race. Piers alongside me, Jon Jackson. I always look forward to this part of the weekend. The top 12 are reversed based on their qualifying, and it means that Josh Erfan is once again on pole position. He was on pole position back in Hungary last time out.
He was very good at tactically getting 12th position in qualifying. No, it's of course top 12, but it just happened to be Josh Erfan this time out again. He couldn't convert it last time out, but he's looking to do that in today's reverse grid race.
And we have a real talent starting second, which I think is a big concern for Josh Erfan, and that is the VRD by Arden driver Nikita Johnson, only just old enough to compete in the GB3 Championship, mixing it up by doing a championship stateside as well. You know, there's talk of a jet bringing him back across and going back. Look, honestly, the amount of travel these guys are doing. But he is one of the hottest prospects. You know, I was speaking with his dad earlier, and people have been describing him stateside as the hottest prospect in American motorsports. Young kid, big future. And for Josh Erfan, you've got to think he's going to be a big threat into that first corner.
Of course, Nikita's going to be a big threat. VRD have been very quick VRD by Arden, sorry, this weekend. Have been very quick this weekend, especially in dry conditions, and it is the nicest it's been all weekend. Still just as windy, but sun's out. I've had to put some sun cream on. I caught the sun a little bit earlier on. Track temperature's rising, so should be a nice, clean, dry race. But hey, Josh will be looking to just get a good start. We know that JHR car is quick as well. We saw with the John Bennett taking one win yesterday and being quick in the race this morning before incidents unfolded. But hey, he'll be looking to try and do one better than he did last time out.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about drivers in a little while that might have chosen fresh tyres for this race. I know that Nikita Johnson is on a fresh set of tyres. His dad was saying, admittedly, maybe one side. I can't actually remember what he said. I remember he was talking to me about tyres. But yeah, he's going to have at least half fresh tyres. So you're going to think that Nikita's going to be absolutely going for it from the start there. Oh, yeah. Let's remind ourselves of what happened last time out there. We've had one more race today. We had one yesterday as well. Let's take a look at the one that happened earlier on today here in the GB3 Championship at Zandvoort.
Highlights from round 14 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. In the initial race start, saw John Bennett struggle off of pole position. There was a great start in the background, though, as of course Hugo Schwarzer would come through the middle, and unfortunately he'd be pinched by two high-tech Pulsate drivers, and of course there'd be an incident as well that would see Noah Ping get involved. That would cause a red flag, as the marshal would have to clean up the drama on the start-finish straight, and then we'd reset our positions and go at racing. We'll obviously take a replay at Hugo Schwarzer trying to go through the middle, and unfortunately slotting that gap and just not quite getting it right with the two high-tech Pulsates going either side. Eventually we would get the race start back underway, and it was a poor one again from John Bennett as the wheel spin would drop him back a couple of positions. Teammate Kuharczyk working his way up to the race lead. A potential jump start from James Headley as there was a bit of a lock-up, a panicked lock-up from John Bennett, who'd almost go into the side of Mackenzie Cresswell. Later on in the race there was some drama for Louis Sharp, who'd been sent out into the barrier with some damage to the front wing, of course, of John Bennett. 2+2 means those two most certainly made contact. Bennett would be given the black and orange flag, meaning that he'd have to return to pit lane to repair the car, but the race start would be back in the control of teammate Kuharczyk once the safety car had picked the field up and they'd rescued Louis Sharp's car. They'd be back out racing. Louis Sharp obviously not in the race, and teammate Kuharczyk pulling out a mega championship lead as John Bennett would return into the pit lane to have that front wing repaired. It was a fourth victory of the season from teammate Kuharczyk, who would lead over the line. A fantastic drive from James Headley and Mackenzie Cresswell. Truly was a brilliant performance as teammate Kuharczyk will retake the championship lead.
Yeah, so the highlights from round 14 of the GB3 Championship. I'm going to get my phone out, which means only one thing. We've had breaking news, so let's read the penalties that came of that race, right? It says, following conclusion of race 2 at Zandvoort, a number of penalties have been issued, which have changed the race results. So the drivers of car number 18 and 20, that's Artur Rojon and Jared Waberski, they've been handed 10-second time penalties for false starts, and I think you maybe alluded to false starts on the grid there. James Headley, I'm also told, got a penalty as well, which was later rescinded, which would have taken him off the podium. It would have promoted Colin Green to third place, but his penalty was rescinded, so we'll find out more about that when we can. Also, the driver of car number 32, which is Sean Rashid's been given a 10-second time penalty. That was for causing that collision with Artur Rojon. And the driver of car number 11, John Bennett, will serve a 5-place grid penalty for race 3. And that was for the collision with Louis Sharp. Well, we didn't really see that one. We didn't see a replay, but we just saw Louis Sharp go into the turn 3 corner, I believe it was.
Well, we came round the corner, the camera panned on the corner, and there he was. But we've heard from, we didn't see what happened. Lewis and I in the commentary box speculated that potentially John Bennett was going for a move, and there may have been contact there, and the front wing hanging down on John Bennett's car sort of alluded to that, but we managed to catch up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hear from Louis Sharp now, because Piers spoke with the Rodin driver earlier today. Oh, Jon Bennett.
Louis, not the race you wanted. Unfortunately, we didn't catch what happened to you, but we saw you in the wall at turn 3. Let us know what happened.
Yeah, no, obviously that was not the race we wanted. Starting P3, we had really good points to score. Obviously we got up into P2 after both the starts, so both the starts were good, and then whilst fighting for P2, unfortunately there was a bit of contact from behind, which ended up me being in the wall. So really unlucky, not really anything I could have done there, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, it's a part of racing, these things happen. All I can do now is just get my head down and focus on the next race. Obviously I got a lot of points to make up now because we lost a potential race win, or a podium at least, so there's a lot of points that I'm now behind, so I gotta get my head down and crawl them back, but I'm confident that in the next race coming up and for the rest of the season we can make those points back up.
Yeah, we spoke to Jon just a few moments ago, and he said he just unfortunately misjudged it, and he didn't mean it. He did apologise. So are you all good to go racing again?
Yeah, no, he did apologise, which is the right thing to do, obviously, because a lot of drivers they won't really admit when they're wrong, so it was good that he at least did that. But yeah, no, all good now. Just got to forget about it. As much as it's annoying, I can't really focus on it at all. Just got to get my head down and focus on the next race, which I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't done more than about 2 or 3 racing laps around here. So no, we'll see how it goes, but hopefully the tyres are okay, because obviously when in a crash like that, sometimes they can be a bit damaged. So hopefully they're all good, and hopefully we can go out and have a good race.
Yeah. Unfortunately, championship lead has been relinquished. Timek, of course, won the race, so he benefited from that quite heavily. But from a spectator's perspective, it's brought the championship right together. But I suppose the close racing is what you live for, right?
No, obviously I do enjoy the close racing. I mean, I think every driver wants to be leading comfortably, but no, I think it's when it's close like this, it really makes you a better driver for it in the end. I mean, we saw it with me and Will in F4 last year, how close it was, and I think had I just won the championship easier, I think this year I wouldn't be as good of a driver for it. So I think it's in these close battles where you really, I guess, find out how much you want it and find out what you're really made of, really. So no, I love the challenge, I love the battles. So no, yeah, as much as it's been tough, I am really enjoying this season.
I'm sure you hope you come out on top, but we're looking forward to a great battle for the rest of the season. Of course, one more race this weekend. Thanks for chatting to us.
Thank you very much.
Louis Sharp there, the Rodin driver, speaking with you earlier, Piers. Nice to see some of his sponsors that have flown all the way over from New Zealand. We mentioned them yesterday, Lucy and Brian. That's a great trip for them to make over here to the Netherlands. Nice that they got a bit of weather as well. So Jon Bennett's penalty that has dropped him down. He was starting 12th, so he's now starting 17th on the grid. And you also caught up with Jon earlier on, didn't you, Piers?
Yeah, I did, and we'll hear from him in a moment. But it's also good to hear from Louis Sharp that as much as Jon caused the collision, Jon admitted to it and then apologised to Louis. So yeah, it's good sportsmanship. They all know that racing at the front, close racing, sometimes leads to mistakes, and that mistake ended Louis Sharp's race, and then Jon got a penalty. Jon didn't want to cause contact, of course. He was trying to make a legitimate move, but the margins are so fine. But it'd be good to hear Jon's point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did see a kid walking away with what might have been Jon Bennett's front wing a little bit earlier on, but anyway, that's completely irrelevant. Let's hear from Jon Bennett now.
Jon, I know I'm probably the last person you want to speak to right now. I can see you're visibly disappointed. Of course, pole position, start didn't go your way, and then just tell us what happened from your perspective in the race.
Yeah, just bad race start. Just got a bit of wheel spin, fell back to P3, which is a shame because I think if I could have led like yesterday, we would have just been away. And then yeah, fell back to P3, fighting Louis through lap 1, into lap 2. Tried to line up a move into T3, went deep through T2 to go up the inside, and then Louis came across to defend, and just checked up a lot more than I thought he would mid-corner, and just front wing hit his rear, and broke my front wing, and Louis went in the wall. So yeah, obviously not how either of us wanted that to happen, and yeah, sorry to Louis for the contact. Yeah, it's such a shame. Like, we've had such great pace all weekend. But yeah, it happens sometimes, and yeah, just moving on to race 3. So.
It's a close racing, of course, and these things happen, and yeah, so it's disappointing to see, of course, such a dramatic race as well. What with the contact in the first start, and yeah, potentially, I mean, Headley, I think, is still under investigation for a jump start as well. So shaking things up. It's still very close in the championship between the top 4. We've still got one more race this weekend. What's your outlook going forward?
Well, yeah, I mean, just try and make up as many places as I can and try and claw back some of that gap to the championship. Yeah, I mean, just a shame to not have closed the gap in that race too, but yeah, just have to put it behind me now and move on.
Jon, thanks for chatting to us. I know this is tricky, but I'm sure you'll bounce back.
Thank you. Cheers.
Charles. Jon Bennett there, who'll now start 17th on the grid, so really not what he wanted at all. We've also got one more penalty to bring you up to date with, and that is Gerard Shees. It's been dropped down to 10th place, a 5-place grid penalty, for the false kind of start collision that we saw early on that caused the red flag early on. That was a little bit harsh for him, I thought, because if you remember in the highlights just there, there were two high-tech cars and, kind of scissoring another car in the middle, but kind of both turning in, and it kind of looked like a racing incident, but actually Gerard Shee's been adjudged to have been at fault there, so a 5-place penalty for him. That seems a bit harsh.
Yeah, my initial reaction is that it's harsh, but of course we only see the shot that we're shown on television, which is directly down the line of the start-finish line, so the camera up at turn 1, and it did look like it was just a racing incident. Hugo Schwarzer in the yellow Elite Motorsport car going for a gap, and the two cars closing in. But the stewards, they'll look back at everything. They look back at the television cameras. They look back at the onboard cameras of all 3 cars involved. There was a 4th car, of course, Noah Ping as well, but he was an innocent party just getting collected. So they will have seen, and they have clearly deemed that Gerard Shee moved in a way that was not conducive to general safety. So unfortunately, he is the one that's copped the blame for that one and has that penalty that you just mentioned.
We mentioned earlier on, actually, Colin Queen with Fortec. We're outside the Fortec garage right now. He came 4th. A great drive for Colin. A great weekend for him. Also, his teammate Edward Pearson was looking pretty fast as well.
Yeah, I can't exactly hear what you're saying, Jonas, but I know you're talking about Edward Pearson. He had a very strong race in that last one, moving up a lot of places, as did his teammate Colin Queen, who so nearly got the podium. But Pearson went up quite a few places, driving really well. Fortec have clearly found something in terms of pace this weekend. They've always had decent race pace and missed out in qualifying. Missed out in qualifying again this weekend, but for some reason they're able to use that pace in the race this weekend to move their way up the field, and a great drive from both of them. And I caught up with Edward Pearson earlier on.
Yeah, 1 second. Come with me, cameraman Tom. Just walk and talk. I just want you to show Ed Pearson now, because he's just getting ready in there. You can just see him there. And him and the crew there are watching possibly the smallest plasma screen TV I've ever seen. If you're a fan of the US Office, you'll know there's a very famous scene where Michael Scott gets the most unimpressive plasma screen TV to impress a woman. I'm pretty sure that rivals it. I don't know what they're watching on there. Presumably they're watching one of the races before, but Edward Pearson, as we can see, just suiting up, ready to get out there. And here's what happened when Edward Pearson spoke to our very own Piers Pryor earlier on.
Ed, we spoke to Colin because he had an amazing result, ended up P4 on the road with a potential chance at a P3. We'll see what happens with that, but not the only one in the team that did really well. You had a great drive as well coming through the field.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled again in quali, just struggled to get the car really dialed in. I think we got a bit mixed up because I think we were looking to go dry and then it rained again, so we just got a bit mixed up in quali, so didn't get the car dialed in for quali, so starting at the back. But again, all I can do is go forward, you can't go backwards, so I made sure to keep out of trouble on the first lap with the big crash, and then just pick people off one by one and ended up P9, so from P18 to P9 is not too shabby.
Seems like you guys have really found something in terms of pace this weekend. You struggled a little bit, I think, by your own admission the last couple of rounds we've been in Europe, but this weekend in the race pace especially, both you and Colin have been moving up multiple positions every single race.
I'd say our race pace has always been there, to be honest, and that's why we normally come through the field at races. I mean, Spa, again, we came through to 9th and 10th or something, so I think we've got really good race pace. I just think once we get that quali pace, we can really fight at the front, because we're always in the middle of the pack in terms of pace in the race. So if we get that quali, we can really be up there.
And we've still got one more race this weekend. Of course, you're starting from somewhere, unfortunately, down the back again. But if you and Colin both repeat what you did in race number 2, then it'll be a good result and a good way to round out the European road trip.
Well, you probably had a bit of a laugh yesterday as me on wets. But so I've got new for the last race, so hopefully it might come to my advantage, that interesting strategy yesterday from me.
I think it was, because we saw that you basically were already pitting anyway for a new front wing, wasn't it? So
no, so it was it was literally, it rained, and when I'm in P19, I just thought, well, I've got nothing to lose at the end of the day. I mean, if it carried on raining, I could have won the race for all I know, so it's better to take the risk than not take it, and then it rains. So when you're that far back, you might as well.
Sometimes you got to roll the dice, sometimes it plays for you, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, sorry, I thought you had a damage, but hey, if you don't, nothing ventured, nothing gained, but you've still got one more chance to show your pace this weekend. We'll see how you get on.
Thank you very much. No.
Yeah, well, we've now walked down to the VRD by Arden Garage to speak with Nikita Johnson's dad, Mr. Johnson, or Obi to his friends. Obi to his friends. We had a chat earlier on, we kind of alluded to it, then you popped out, so I thought I'd grab a word with you.
Sure.
I mean, you know, I was saying that you told me that he's, you know, called one of the hottest talents in the United States racing, and I mean, he's really done quite well so far.
He's done great. He's youngest winner in Formula 2000, US juniors, and now he's second in the championship and pro. He's doing pretty well.
He's doing really, really well. And Piers, we were chatting earlier, weren't we, about how many series he's racing in?
Exactly. How does Nikita go from one car to another? Of course, GB3 cars are slightly different to the cars they race out in the States.
They're more different than they look because there's more, more of everything, more downforce, more power, less tire. So, it's a little bit of a changeover each week. And we're basically going every Monday. We fly to another continent, back and forth.
It's crazy, a amount of commitment, but also it must be good for Nikita in his driving development to have to stay on his toes and perform in a new car every weekend.
Absolutely, it's no different really than having mixed conditions in the same car. That's the way we look at it. Just gotta get on with it.
I know we've got a lot of people watching at home on the live stream right now, but also there's a lot of people going to the next race, I believe, in Canada.
Yeah, it's going to be all of our friends and family there in Gulfport, Florida, a suburb of St. Petersburg.
Awesome stuff. So what, Toronto next weekend and then back for Silverstone?
Back to Silverstone the following Monday.
Do you ever go home?
We haven't been home for about a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
It's like a holiday there. It's like a cool road trip.
It's not a holiday when it's raining like it did the other day.
The sun's come out for you now, though.
Yeah, it's perfect. This is our weather.
Not quite as humid as Florida, though.
Yeah, it's a lot more humid in Florida, that's for sure.
Awesome stuff. Well, look, great to catch up with you. We'll let you continue watching over preparations there, but Obi, thank you very much. Appreciate, we chat to all kinds of people here. We've got Ollie Dutton behind from Fortec, always likes to talk to us. Maybe we'll grab a word with him after we hear from Seb Murray.
Seb Murray, that was a great race, making up a lot of places and ending up well inside the top 10. Just talk to us from your perspective.
Yeah, really good race. It was a bit of carnage at the start. There was a big crash off the line with a few cars in front, and I missed it by a couple of inches, if that. I was badly affected by it, but luckily not involved. And then after the red flag restart, made my way up the pack and ended up finishing P8 on the roads, which is really good. And then I think someone's picked up a penalty, which puts me P7 from P15. So yeah, it's a really good race. I'm really happy with that result. Team have done a great job throughout the whole week, so big thanks to them. And yeah, hopefully we can do the same in race 3.
Yeah, it seems like the team, you've been working well together, and you're getting closer and closer to the front of the field. I suppose you're just going to try and continue that on when we get back to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time for the return there.
Yeah, 100%. You always got to aim at the top, so yeah, hopefully we can get there.
Absolutely, and also as a first-year driver in the championship, this is your first time at Zandvoort. Just talk to us about what it's like to drive a GB3 car around here.
Oh, Zandvoort is an amazing circuit. It works so well with this car as well, with the Mankin at turn 3 in the last corner as well. It's unreal. It's a really good circuit, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Great experience for the future, hopefully, as well, with being on the Formula 1 calendar. But Seb, congratulations on a great result, and we'll see how you get on in race 3.
Thank you very much.
A few moments ago, we were peering into the Fortec garage, and we were looking at Ed Pearson getting ready. And I then ducked in and grabbed Ollie Dutton, team manager of Fortec. It's been a good weekend for your drivers so far.
It has, yeah. I mean, it's lovely to be at Zandvoort. Sun's out today, which is nice. We've had mixed conditions this weekend, but yeah, we're learning with these guys. With Colin, it's first time. He actually didn't come to the testing in the pre-season, so it was first time here, and we knew what we were up against. But fantastic race from both of them in the last one. Colin's his race pace at the moment is phenomenal, and he's always moving forward. So it's great to see. Keep working hard, and hopefully we have a good one this one.
I definitely can see the confidence that both your drivers are getting at the moment, and you guys as a team as well are helping push on with that and find some great race pace. And we just heard from Ed Pearson a moment ago, actually, when we came up to word with him earlier, and he said that the race pace has often been there, but just qualifying is so tricky to get right. What are you guys doing working to help the drivers just get there in quali so they can use that pace to get the results they want to?
Yeah, it's just kind of lacing it all together in such a small period, and I think when we've got the whole day testing, it's hard to kind of reflect where everybody is. But then when you've got that 20 minutes and they've got to get it right with the peak of the tyre, sometimes we've fell short of that. So we're working hard. We've got a lot of people behind the scenes that are working with them, and we just keep pushing forward and looking for the next one. Just hope that we can keep moving forward and have a good, strong end of the year.
Absolutely, and also just looking over your shoulder, I can see 8 shiny new slick tyres for your boys out there. So they're going to be quick in this one.
Well, I hope so. I mean, Ed went for a bit of a risk on that first race and came in and went for wets, which it could have gone either way.
Could have gone.
It could have done. So he's got an extra set. Obviously, we got some wets in the first race, so looking quite tasty for him. And then, yeah, Colin actually was on old in the last race, even though he was quick. So I know that Creswell had 4 new. So happy with the pace of the race, and hopefully we can move both these boys forward with the new.
Well, Ollie, I'll let you get back to doing your job. Thanks for chatting to us. Great to hear from Ollie Dutton, the team manager at Fortec.
He owns a very, very nice pink camper van.
I've
Go
heard.
with your helmet perfectly, because Piers always raced with a very resplendent, self-coloured in, not coloured in, it sounds like you've got a felted pen. You know what I mean, self-designed pink helmet.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Maybe you could do a collab one day. Who knows?
Maybe. We'll see.
Great to hear from Ollie Dutton. And Fortec's looking pretty racy in that last one.
Even more impressive to know that Colin Queen did that amazing drive up to 4th place on tyres that were slightly older than the drivers around him, and he's got new tyres in this one now. So I don't want to put too much expectation on him because he's had great race pace, but with the new tyres and a lot of the drivers around on the grid towards the back having used their best tyres already, we could be on for another climb through the fields. But we'll see. I don't want to jinx anyone.
Now, we could have a little look down the grid here. I mean, like, from where we are here, most cars that we can see, certainly the VRD by Arden cars, they look like they've got brand new tyres on, don't they? And the Fortec ones have as well.
Yeah, the new tyres, of course. Each team or each car gets 2 full sets of racing slick tyres for the race weekend, which has to do qualifying and the 3 races, so effectively 4 sessions. So generally, in a dry race weekend, they'll have to use at least 1 set of slicks twice, if not 2. But because we had qualifying was wet tyres used for that, all the drivers saved the next pair of slicks, so they've all got 1 set of brand new slicks to use either in the 2nd or the 3rd race. And generally the drivers who are in with a shout of a reverse grid will save them for the 3rd race.
Well, look, we've got Josh Elfman on pole position, Patrick Hoytzenreuter in the very frequently mentioned Hard Rock car there, in the Miami Blue, as we're calling it. He starts very high up the grid. I mean, he's going to potentially, I think from 3rd place, going to have a really good run into that first corner as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And obviously one of the most easy cars to look out for. This here, the car of John Bennett, obviously down in 17th, starting quite far down the back. Now we know that John's got the pace, so we're expected to see this car, if you are looking out for John Bennett, number 11 in the grey car there, the JHR Developments car, we're going to expect him to make up some places pretty quickly, I would imagine.
And again, that's the beauty of the reverse grid race, is the fact that you've got the faster drivers towards the back of the top 12, the slower drivers at the front, brings the grid together, makes great racing.
It's very, very exciting. The reverse grid race, the final race of the weekend here at Zandvoort. Let's go racing in the GB3 Championship.
Races down, just 10 left to go. Of course, all the way back to Alton Park and that first ever victory for Louis Sharp. It has been quite a journey thus far. A dominant performance in the first set overseas from Tibet Kuharczyk. He has returned to the top step of the podium and to the top of the championship here at Zandvoort. After this, of course, the final 9 races of the season return to the UK with Silverstone, Donington and Brands Hatch to round out the championship. Can Kuharczyk hang on to the top of the podium? Well, we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, he is leading the championship with 1 final race here at Zandvoort. It has been a tricky test for the drivers, as we always expect. What are we going to get round here in the reverse grid race? Of course, it is a beautiful day out there, and I'm sure the dunes will be glistening in the sunshine, of course, that go around this circuit. The likes of Tarzan and Hugenholz have already caused some problems. Of course, that's right up towards Shavlak, where we've seen a fair few dramas as well. Turns 9 and 10, where you have plenty of overtaking opportunities. You've just got to be brave to take advantage of them. Down towards the Hans Ernst Bog, and of course through the penultimate turn at 13, up through the Ari Lyondike curve, and back onto the start-finish straight. It is not a long circuit by Grand Prix classification, but it is certainly a challenging one. 2.6 miles all the way around. And again, not too much when it comes to undulation over the 14 Elevation change, which is actually the same as Snetterton as well, conveniently. It is a tricky circuit, though. There is a lot more dynamic action that can happen around here, and as you can see there on the right-hand side of your screen, it's going to be Josh Erfan starting from the reverse grid pole. Of course, this grid is set by the top 12. If you go back to qualifying to take the fastest laps from qualifying, it is the top 12 from that are reversed. However, we have had some grid penalties for the likes of Jon Bennett. I'm sure you've heard Jon Jackson and Piers prior talking about that prior to the race. But of course, there's been a few penalties that have been dished out. The likes, of course, of Jon Bennett have already picked up a penalty. Headley's been dropped back a few as well. Gerard Shee's been dropped back a couple. So there's been a few chops and changes, but I will update you on the championship before we go racing. 276 points now is what Teammate Kuharczyk has. He is 22 points clear of Louis Sharp. Will McIntyre is 4 further back, and then Jon Bennett is 8 further back. So Jon Bennett on 242 points. It's a big margin, 34 off of the championship lead, but the top 4 are still in championship contention, and there is still 10 races left to go. So the formation lap begins, and we prepare ourselves for the slightly longer race as well. It's normally been 13 laps over the weekend thus far. This one is 16 laps or 25 minutes, whichever one comes first. And with a safety car intervention, it will normally lean towards 25 minutes. Without that, we should comfortably get the 16 laps underway. As you can see them rolling around, let's take a look at the starting grid. Josh Erfan, of course, will be starting from pole position, and Nikita Johnson will be starting alongside. And that BRD Racing by Arden has been pretty quick, same as Patrick Hoytson-Roeder's JHR Developments car. New livery on that one this weekend, looks fantastic. He'll be starting from third with Arthur Rojon alongside, who got pinged for a potential jump start in the previous race. Mackenzie Cresswell will start from 5th position with Hugo Schwartz, who's been fantastic this weekend for the Elite Motorsports team. He had his personal best qualifying in the first race of the weekend. Looking for more from there. Will McIntyre in championship contention, 7th position he'll start. James Headley after 2 podiums this weekend, starting from 8th. Louis Sharp from 9th position. Gerard Shee will start from 10th after a grid drop that's moved him slightly further down the order. And then, of course, you find a couple of positions inside the top 12. You'll see one person missing from this. You've got Teammate Kuharczyk, sure, he'll start from 11th. No Jon Bennett starting from 12th. It's a 5-place grid drop, so Noah Ping gets promoted up to 12th position. Big for the championship, that will be Colin Queen, who's made up so many spots over the weekend thus far. He'll be starting from 13th position alongside Sean Rashid in the VRD Racing by Arden car. Then in 15th position, it is Sebastian Murray, along with Jared Oberski, who again has had a lot of positions made up, mostly courtesy of a very poor qualifying for the Elite Motorsports driver, someone who's definitely looking to be in the top 10 of the championship. This is where we find Jon Bennett down in 17th position. Of course, had a double pole position, had a 5-place grid drop that's dropped him from 12th all the way back to 17th. Flynn Jacks will be starting alongside. One final row on the grid. We'll see Ed Pearson and Aditya Kulkarni starting from the rear of the field, as we have seen thus far from the 2 previous races. Of course, 16 laps of action. Lewis McGlade and Piers Pryor in the commentary booth. You've come in, you've made a mess, and now you're ready for some action. This is going to be good fun.
This is going to be a good one. The reverse grid always throws up some drama, and we've had 2 dramatic races already this weekend in the standard grid races. So I'm expecting more of the same, which will be good. Hopefully we can keep it clean. We just have nice, close, fair racing, and we'll find out who's going to leave Zandvoort leading the championship.
Well, it'll probably be Teammate Kuharczyk based on his current position, but my bigger question to you would be who's winning this race? Do you think Josh Erfan's got it? Do you think maybe Nikita Johnson is, he's returning into the top 10? Obviously, he had a couple of top 10 qualifiers to start out his campaign back in Spa. He's returned up to it. He's got the pace, and that car does look pretty quick.
You know what? It would be good to see Josh Erfan get a win. We know that both the Arden VRD cars and the JHR cars are quick, but from the top 3 or the top 2 rows, the guy that's been quickest out of the top front 2 rows, which is likely where we're going to see our winner come from, is Patrick Hoytson-Roeder in that bright Miami blue car. He's been quick, and of course, unfortunately had a DNF in race 1, tough race 2, but we know the pace is there, so if he can get away from the line well and apply the pressure, who knows? So I'm saying Patrick Hoytson-Roeder.
I'm saying Patrick Hoytson-Roeder or Mackenzie Cresswell. We're about to find out. 16 laps onto the clock then. Green flag waved at the back of the field. And we will get ready to go racing for round 15 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. We race our way down towards Tarzan. Good start from Josh Erfan, but a much better one on the second phase from Nikita Johnson. Look at Patrick Hoytson-Roeder going straight around the outside in the Miami blue Hard Rock car as he sends it around the outside. JHR Developments back out front, and this time it is in the hands of Patrick Hoytson-Roeder. The rest of the field goes single file behind with a couple of side-by-side bits at the back end of the top 10.
Everyone through turn 1 and 2 will remains to be seen whether we all make it through turn 3. But oh, who's that? That's Nikita Johnson that's taken the lead away from Patrick Hoytzenroder in turn 3, and Mackenzie Cresswell following him through.
Yeah, here comes Cresswell, then he's got the outside as they come towards Sheevlack, a little bit of a squeeze. Oh, Patrick Hoytzenroder has just been squeezed onto the curb of the escape road there, where you've got the effectively the shorter layout around here. Still manages to hang on to third position, but Nikita Johnson back to at the front of the field rather, as he'll lead. Look at Hugo Schwarzer sneaking his way around the outside in the orange highlighted Elite Motorsports car. He's trying to get around the outside of the likes of Arthur Ojon.
Yeah, Arthur Ojon was defending the inside. It was very, very close to an incident between Hoytzenroder and Mackenzie Cresswell. Nearly a repeat of a massive incident we saw in one of the other races on this weekend in singles. Oh, whoa. Wide goes the number 2 of Headley.
Yep, Headley's gone out wide. He's going to drop back into the clutch of his good friend Jon Bennett as well. The number 11 JHL Developments car might be sneaking his way into the mix. Mackenzie Cresswell then on the hunt. We said he's not taking a victory this season. He's desperate for it. Josh Erfan, they're going out a little bit wide in the number 12 car. There is James Headley in the number 2 that's gone out wide. And there is a look. So Will McIntyre in the 21 has got through now on Josh Erfan. So McIntyre's making some decent progress.
Yeah, McIntyre doing well to get up a couple of positions at the start. It was a slow start. Well, actually, it was a half decent start from our Polster to Eartham, but the second phase, it looked like he just pulled up to second or third gear too early. Who's that? The number 2 of Headley had his arm out of the cockpit going down the start-finish straight. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll keep an eye on this battle at the front of the field.
Yeah, he did pull over to one side. I wonder if he's got a problem in that car. I did see a bit of a smoke as well. Someone having a bit of a lock-up down into T1 as they work their way through. Again, keeping your eye on Team Kuharczyk there in the number 22. High-tech Pulse State car back towards the front of the field. This is for second position at the moment. We've got Mackenzie Cresswell. There's Nikita Johnson working his way through. Mackenzie Cresswell is not, I would have said Mackenzie Cresswell certainly got the speed to catch up to Nikita Johnson, but unfortunately doesn't quite have it at the moment. That gap's grown to 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, good.
Or didn't Nikita Johnson say after the race that he was looking to save his tyres in an interview with certain Piers prior?
He has 2 or a full set of brand new tyres. So Nikita Johnson making the most of those brand new tyres. Cresswell had new tyres in the previous race, so it's going to be a bit of a tyre deficit as we see the high-tech Pulsate car having a look up the inside but not getting that job done. Yeah, so tyre advantage for Nikita Johnson. The new tyres, especially at the start of the race in the first 3 or 4 laps, have a distinct advantage. 3 wide going into the final sector. That was, I didn't quite catch the numbers. Are we going to make it through safely? I hope we are. It looks like we have. That was Jared Wawerski was involved there, but I couldn't catch who the other drivers were, but it was definitely 3 abreast.
Yeah, certainly so, as Ed Pearson battles it out with Headley, who's dropped right the way down. Unfortunately, this double podium start to the weekend is not going to work out too well for Headley as he drops down the order. I thought he might have had that podium taken away from him, but I think the post-race investigation didn't actually take it because he was still on the podium when I last checked on the official results. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
It was removed from him, and then it was it was rescinded and then reapplied. So clearly, went in there as we see Colin Queen trying to go around the outside of Eartham but not getting that move done, and then in the background the number 11 of Jon Bennett making his way up the field past the number 32 of Sean Rashid.
Yeah, so he's now to 13th position. It's Jon Bennett, slightly different line as they head their way through Hugenholz, which is what we saw in qualifying as well. There is Louis Sharp in 7th position. Noah Ping directly behind, who has been embroiled in a couple of issues in incidents, including one with Louis Sharp a few weeks back at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps with of course Noah Ping getting down the inside going into Rivage, making contact with Ugo Chikwu and with Louis Sharp, basically removing the pair of them from the race. Very controversial incident. Didn't get a penalty from it in that race, but that's fine. We're not going to talk about it. I think we've got 3 place grid penalty for the next one. Is what it is. As I'm sure Louis Sharp will remember that very clearly.
Yes, Louis Sharp's going to be making sure that there is no sniff of an overtake from Ping behind. They have history, and Sharp's actually looking in his mirrors. It looks like Ping's got a good exit out of there, and Kuharczyk's very, very close on the rear of the both of them as well. So this is an interesting battle for the championship in terms of Sharp and Kuharczyk, so we'll keep an eye on this as it unfolds.
Yeah, of course, Louis Sharp, one of the championship protagonists, along with that number 22 behind Kuharczyk, the championship leader. Louis Sharp has relinquished the championship lead after the previous race dramas, where he retired after an incident between himself and Jon Bennett. Kuharczyk now in 9th position. To be fair for Kuharczyk, I think he just needs to score some decent points and tick off what has been a very solid weekend from him. Second place to first place and looking for slightly more. His teammate, though, certainly working in progress. This is Will McIntyre going around the outside of Arthur Rojon in the battle for 5th position. So Will McIntyre in the number 21, the silver car, has just worked his way through up into 5th position. Lovely move.
Lovely move around the outside of Tarzan. It can be done. The banking helps there, but he's been enjoying that move this weekend. I believe he pulled a move almost identical to that in race number 1 of the weekend.
Yeah, well, he's still feeling the pressure as they work back up towards Shivlak, and we'll see if Arthur Rosen is able to chuck something back down the inside, but it's such a fast corner, you just really can't do that as Noah Ping's defending from Kuharczyk behind.
Yeah, this battle's going to rage on. Kuharczyk, we know, is quick around every single circuit basically this year. Quick in the high-tech Pulsate car around this circuit as well. Obviously second fastest in qualifying, wasn't he? So yeah, right up there in all conditions, and he'll be using that pace. I think the leading drivers in the championship will likely have taken. Oh, that's a defensive move from Ping there. So that's going to drop him off the back of Sharp and put him in the clutches of Kuharczyk. But I was just saying, I think the leading drivers in the championship will likely have used their 2 sets of new tyres in race number 1 and race number 2. So likely that they will all be slightly slower in this race compared to some of the drivers who have managed to save a set of brand new slick tyres.
Yeah, well, there is Noah Ping keeping Kuharczyk at bay. So Kuharczyk unable to pass. He's got his teammate Gerard Shee behind. Of course, he was fantastic at the previous weekend of the championship at the Hungaroring when it comes to pace. But teammate Kuharczyk, again, he's on, when it comes to qualified positions, he has been first or second in the last 8 qualifying attempts. So shows his dominance in this championship and just keeps picking up some decent results. Just the odd scuffle here. I mean, there was the disqualification back in Hungary that's really cost him. As we look further down, John Bennett in the number 11, battling with his teammate James, it was his good friend rather, James Heady. It's just his normal mate, and Sebastian Murray. Yeah, John Bennett dropped back down to 16th.
He was up to 12th place, wasn't he? I believe on the previous lap. So we get away from the cameras. He's dropped back down, potentially just running wide or an issue. I'm not sure, but fighting his way back up, trying to regain some of the positions he lost. Although he's still up 1 position from where he started in 17th,
which is a point. Of course, every position you gain relative to your starting position is a point.
Up to 15.
Yeah. Even though the reverse grid is 12. So if you, theoretically, you can gain 35 points from this race, but you have to be outside of the reverse grid because you have to qualify 15th or worse.
Sorry, Lewis, you were chatting about that. I didn't mean to cut over the top of you, but I think that was Pearson making an error on the exit of the first of the double rights, getting wide and then cutting aggressively to the inside to defend from Jackson. Jax having locking an inside tyre just to avoid contact.
3 seconds the race lead from Nikita Johnson. He is absolutely running wild around this circuit. Of course, Nikita Johnson, not a full-time driver in the championship. We didn't have him for the first couple of rounds. We've seen him in all of the international rounds though, and he's been absolutely rapid.
But why was he not a full-time driver?
Was it age, is it?
He wasn't old enough, Lewis.
Yeah.
He's only 15 years old or 16 years old or something like that.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, look, we both had a birthday fairly recently. We're both feeling pretty old right now.
I'm over 10 years his senior, and he can go a better moustache than I can.
It's true, it is. It's not a bad moustache, actually. I'm not going to comment, but it's fine. Look, we all felt slightly better when we found out how old John was. We're not going to talk about that. We'll move straight on. It's a 3.5 second lead that he's got, though, and again, what a fantastic pace that he's showing is Nikita Johnson. Escaping all of this drama behind Cresswell, Huysenrode, Schwarzer, McIntyre, Rojon, and then this battle here where we see Louis Sharp continuing to defend from Noah Ping in the VRD Racing by Arden car.
Yeah, it's a close battle. We're not seeing many moves at this stage of the race. I think sort of settled down. Everyone's trying to find their relative positions. However, there's definitely opportunities for manoeuvres because a lot of drivers are toing and froing, and with groups like that, when it takes a small mistake like a lock-up from Josh Irfan that we've just seen to open the door, and unfortunately Irfan's not faring well in this race. Started on pole position. That slow start really hurt his progress, and he's been on a bit of a backward trajectory ever since then. Yeah, it's close. I mean, look at it. What's it? The only gaps over a second are the leader Johnson to Cresswell, and then between Queen and Rashid, and then Kulkarni in last place. Every other gap is less than a second. So pretty much nose-to-tail racing for the whole 20-car field.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy as we keep our eye on Louis Sharp, who is not having a particularly good second portion of this weekend. Of course, the first race was okay, sure. The second race was terrible. And this race, I think, isn't going super well. I think, I'm assuming they're on some slightly older tyres as well. They don't quite have the grip to go on the attack. I'm assuming both the VRD Racing by Arden cars have probably done the same thing on tyres where they've saved it so that they can go on the attack in this race. That would be what I would assume, because Ping is also showing very similar pace to Nikita Johnson, our race leader.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Louis Sharp's tyre situation because he didn't complete all of the laps in the previous race. So then he could potentially have used those tyres, but he also did mention that potentially those tyres may have been damaged in that incident, so we didn't actually find out whether that happened. But Ping is applying the pressure once again on the back of Sharp.
Yes, indeed. So Ping trying to find a way through. Kuharczyk sat on the rear end. I think Kuharczyk really right now probably be told by the High-Tech Pulsate team to be patient right now, to not do anything too silly. You're scoring some decent points. Yes, you're being outscored by Louis Sharp, but realistically speaking, you're in a solid position in the champs, mate. It's been a great weekend. You've had a victory. We'll have to wait and see.
That was Kuharczyk looking up the inside of Ping. Let's see if we can... what happened there? No, Kuharczyk backed out, and that is allowing Gerard Shee to get very much on the scene there as well. So a little look from Kuharczyk. He needs to be careful, because as much as his teammates behind, I don't think Gerard Shee is going to hold any punches if a gap opens in front of him.
No, certainly not. But again, that's one of the things we have to wait and see. We're not even halfway through this race. We're halfway through at the end of the next lap. So there's still lots of time for these drivers to work their way through. The problem really for Kuharczyk and the likes, though, is that the highest he can really get to is Arthur Rojon in 6th position, because there's too large of a gap between Rojon and McIntyre, which sees this group here with Mackenzie Cresswell, Patrick Oytimodo, Schwarzer and McIntyre. There's the gap back to Arthur Rojon. There's the look coming in from Noah Ping and the number 3 charcoal grey car, trying to get past the black and white of Louis Sharp.
Yeah, just having a glance at the timing screens, Lewis, and noticed something a little interesting. Now, we looked at the start, we watched it pretty closely, as we always do. Didn't notice anything untoward. However, cars number 17, 32 and 55. So Nikita Johnson, our 4-second race leader, was it 17, 32, Sean Rashid, and number 55, that is Flynn Jacks, under investigation after the race for the start.
Now, I wonder, because we did hear that there was something weird happening with some wheels or something how they approached with Arthur Rojon, particularly in the previous race. It wasn't a jump start. There was something else that had happened, and that was where a penalty had come from. And I do wonder if it might be something in that vein. I don't know exactly what the... I don't know what the ruling is, and I wouldn't want to guess or ponder or
just
anything like that.
Interesting. And of course, we'll keep you updated if we have any more information, and if after the race we haven't had an answer, then gb-3.net in the bottom right hand side of your screen is the place to go to find out that. This battle between our championship leaders, with Noah Ping and Gerard Shee also involved, is not relenting. That is our Louis Sharp was our championship leader coming into this weekend, no longer our championship leader. Noah Ping right behind him, and then the third in the train, the championship leader, number 22, grey car, High-Tech Pulsate of Kuharczyk.
Here he goes.
Is now very, very much under pressure is applying pressure to the back of Noah Ping. Oh, jinx one way goes the other. Beautiful dummy move, if he can get it done, but no, didn't brake late enough. Ping braked very late into the apex and managed to fend off that attack from Kuharczyk one more time.
He certainly gave it a good go there, did teammate Kuharczyk, but unfortunately unable to pass. He's applying the pressure more and more to the rear end of Noah Ping. Whether we'll see a big move, we'll have to wait and see. We'll take a look at the replay, though, of the race start to understand what happened. See anything weird there?
Oh, I don't know whether Nikita Johnson was actually slightly over the lines. It looked like he was a long way forward in his grid box. Again, from this camera angle, very difficult to definitively say. Very, very far forward. So, of course, you want to make most of the space so that you're as far forward as possible, but you go too far forward, all it takes is a little roll, and then you're over your start box procedure. Oh, no, car stops. That is...
Murray.
Seb Murray?
Yeah, Seb Murray has come to a stop then. Where is that?
Where is that? That is on the exit turn 1.
It is Tarzan. Yeah, I was looking at it being that's a
is there
very
front wing damage on that, or has he just pulled over? Again, not sure. It's way out of the way, and a safety car has been deployed to retrieve that car with how many minutes ago? 11 minutes, which will mean that this race will almost certainly go to time now. 8 laps on the clock, but 8 laps on the dial, but 11 minutes to go. Hopefully a fairly swift recovery from turn 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Normally these races, I think we have gone to time most of them, because 25 minutes, all the 16 laps, it's tight. One safety car generally pulls the plug on that one. So it'll be 7 laps to go at the line. But again, we'll update you. Once we go back racing, we'll start to give you more of an update as to what's happened. But unfortunately there, like I say, Sebastian Murray, who's shown some good, really good speed this weekend. I think he had, 8th position in the last race?
He did, made his way through the field. We caught up with him just before the race. You would have seen that if you were watching the pre-show. So... it was, yeah, he's had good pace this weekend. Chris Dickman racing and moving forward, and Seb leading that charge for them, and unfortunate that he won't be finishing this race.
No, big shame, of course. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why all the structures, there's lots of structures being built around here. There's a small race coming to Zandvoort in the near future, which I'm pretty sure a few of these drivers are eyeing up the potential...
Formula...
Something like that.
F1?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Never heard of it. It's coming obviously in a few I think months. This month, I don't know.
Joking aside, though, Lewis, it is excellent that we've got well, I say another. We had this last year, but this season 4 Formula One circuits on.
Yep.
4 Formula One circuits
4.
on the GB3. Oh my God. 4 Formula One circuits on the GB3 calendar. 3 in Europe, and then of course Silverstone, which we are visiting again in 2 weeks' time. So great for the drivers who are aspiring towards Formula One, but not just Formula One. A lot of these drivers may have aspirations towards Formula One. Others may just be wanting to be a professional driver in another series or GTs or prototypes. But almost all of these circuits appear on the main championships in the world, the elite championships in the world. So great experience for the drivers.
Indeed. So safety car will be in this lap. I think to be fair, I think we should be able to get the actual 6 laps of racing based on the time that is left. So we'll have to wait and see. But realistically, Nikita Johnson, our race leader, Mackenzie Cresswell in second, Patrick Hoytsenroder in third, Hugo Schwarzer, Will McIntyre, Arthur Rojon, Sharp, Ping, Kuharczyk and Shi being the top 10 with the laps left to go. Like I say, I think realistically we should on time just about be able to get 6 from where we are. They run about 92, 93 seconds laps. From it's slightly longer, I've got 97 seconds laps. But really, I think we should get the 6 in.
Yeah, just about. It depends how quick the safety car goes.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? They'll be returning their way round onto the start-finish straight, and it will be Johnson holding on from the pole position. But let's from the front of the field, as the safety car will peel its way from the front of the field, and there goes Nikita Johnson then. So Mackenzie Cresswell in second spot will be trying to pound. Has he used too much of his tyres in the opening portion, or does he have enough in the bank to take him through the next 6 laps? We're back underway here in round 15 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Does Mackenzie Cresswell feel the need to pounce early? Is this a good opportunity? Someone into the pit lane in the background. We'll cross that bridge in a second. I think it's on the VRD Racing by Ardens, as here comes a move from Louis Sharp to the inside, the number 7 car, the inside of Arthur Rojon down at turn 1. A couple of big bits of contact. That's Colin Queen that's just made a bit of a touch with Josh Durfan.
Yeah, Josh Durfan just squeezing Colin Queen wide. Luckily, they've both managed to fight that and live another day. And that's so close between Jared Boberski and Colin Queen as well. So Colin Queen unfortunately losing 2 and potentially even 3 spots. Although Sharp has now been done by Noah Ping.
So it was one of the VRD Racing by Ardens. It's Sean Rashid who's come into the pit lane, sadly, for a repair. Like you say, a lot to talk about in this one, but at the moment it's still Nikita Johnson. There's Will McIntyre, who sits ahead of Arthur Rojon, unable to get past Hugo Schwarzer, though, of course, he remains in his position. The top 6 is unchanged.
Yeah, so that's a prime example of if you don't succeed in an overtake first time, it can often leave you vulnerable, because it was Sharp trying to overtake his teammate Rojon for 6th place, but Sharp is up, unfortunately, because he couldn't quite get that move done first time, was then vulnerable in terms of exit speed and was overtaken by Ping. So Sharp from 7th down to 8th, Ping up from 8th to 7th.
Yeah, he's going down even further because Gerard Shee's got to the inside. He's been passed by Kuharczyk. I was going to say he ran wide coming through turn 10. There's almost a bit of contact between the pair of them as there's a big squeeze. Louis Sharp is losing ground here, not just in this race, but in the championship as well. Louis Sharp down to 10th.
That is... Oh, no. Is that smoke coming from Mackenzie Cresswell's car? As now Ping is going up the inside, using that pace, trying to get up the inside of the number 18 of... Arthur Rojon, yeah. Oh, who's that going wide? Yeah. Is that Shi? That's Gerard Shi. Yes, it is Gerard Shi. So Gerard Shi going wide at turn 1. That's disappointing for him. He was braking very, very late. He just got past, or was he just about to get past Louis Sharp? Yeah,
I will say, by the way, with the smoke that was coming out of Cresswell's car, I had noticed that earlier on the race. I thought it might have been a lock-up down to T1, but no. I think it is Mackenzie Cresswell's car's smoking a little bit, so I'm sure there's concerns from the Elite Motorsport Garage, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But as they work their way through Shevlak, it is Nikita Johnson leading by 0.8 of a second. Mackenzie Cresswell in second, Patrick Hoytsenroder in third, then Hugo Schwarzer, Will McIntyre, Arthur Rojon, and then basically this entire pack. Kuharczyk desperate to try and work his way through, although to be fair, his main championship rival is now is behind him.
Yeah, down into 10th place, so I don't know what's happened to Sharp. It seems like he had good pace on the restart, and then once the momentum starts going back, wide is our championship leader. That is Kuharczyk trying to go around the outside of Arthur Rojon in that left-hander and getting forced wide. This is not what he needs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was actually him with Arthur Rojon, or it might have been him with potentially Louis Sharp. But
actually, good point.
We'd have to double check that one. But Louis Sharp might have been a bit aggressive because obviously Gerard Shee is not in 9th spot. Louis Sharp will be in 9th spot. So we'll have to wait and see. So Timo Kuharczyk then losing out a bit of ground here, and we'll have to wait and see. We'll have 4 laps left to go here at Circuit Zandvoort. Nikita Johnson continues to lead, but he's pulled out that margin even more so. Where is Timo Kuharczyk dropped down to, and how many more positions will he lose? Here comes Colin Queen to the outside. Not someone I was expecting to pass Kuharczyk, who locks up down into turn 1. Is he going to go straight on? No, he is not.
So then 2 laps, both of the high-tech Pulse 8 cars in that battle have both gone off. So she went off at turn 1, then Kuharczyk went off at the double left-hander. Who are we looking at? So now Kuharczyk is... I think you were right, I think it was actually Sharp looking at the inside of Kuharczyk as opposed to him going out the inside of Rojon.
But now Bennett's making up a load of progress. He's on the cusp of getting inside the top 10, almost a squeeze there with the South African Jared Waberski. And here comes John Bennett back onto the scene. He was in absolutely nowhere before that safety car. It's come out, it's put him back in the pack. He's now up into 11th position after a few struggles in this race. He had to start from 17th, he worked his way up to 12th, he dropped back to 16th. Now he's back up to 11th, and more importantly, he's outscoring Kuharczyk. Yes, it's only by a point or so, but it's still points.
More than a couple of points, because Bennett has now gone plus 6 places in the race, plus the extra point or 2 he will gain from being 1 position higher. Again, speculation because the race has not finished yet, so this is very much subject to change, because I don't think we've had the same order more than a lap or so over the line. But also, Bennett is now very much under pressure from Timo Kuharczyk. These 2 were 1st and 2nd in wet weather qualifying, and were both up there in all of the dry and practice sessions as well. So this battle is going to continue on, but it's a shame for Kuharczyk, because he's been driving so consistently this season, not making mistakes, and we didn't see the start of that move or that incident. But it's really harming his championship lead. What are you looking at there, Lewis?
Josh Erfan and Colin Queen are both under investigation for the safety car restart. So there is a fair amount going on. By the way, I do believe we'll see one of the Chris Stittman racing cars going out wide there a little bit. You're absolutely right, it was from Jax. With the time left, they should cross the line with about 7 seconds left to go to make this 3 laps left to go in this race. So Nikita Johnson continues to lead, so we should get the entirety of the running in this race of all 16 laps, as we'll see. Mackenzie Cresswell, and obviously that was Hugo Schwarzer defending from the likes behind. There is a look at Louis Sharp. No note as to whether there is an investigation between himself and of course Timo Kuharczyk for that instance. If it was him or Arthur Rojon, we're speculating a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was Sharp, because I think Rojon was actually 1 place higher up than that. And also, at this corner we're looking at right now is a corner you don't really try and go around the outside of it. It's hard to get around the outside, so I think you're more likely that it was Sharp going up the inside. Who's
Erfan, Waberski, Bennett also in the tow. I think Bennett's actually made his way past Waberski in all that. We'll have to wait and see once they've worked their way through. There is Erfan defending from Arthur Rojon, who's going slow. What has happened to Arthur Rojon? He was in 7th position. He is now dropping right the way down the order of the Rodin car. I think there must be some form of issue. He's going side by side with Waberski. He's gone straight around the outside. There's contact between the pair of them. Waberski's gone straight off, and I think John Bennett was maybe a little bit too close to that in the number 11 JHR Developments car and had to really get on the anchors.
That was contact again onto the start finish straight. It's quicker. We are 4 wide, no 3 wide actually.
Yeah, but look at these two on the championship on the left hand side. That's the 11 and the 22. They are up there in the championship. Colin Queen sneaks his way past a lot of it. Timo Kuharczyk's trying to get around the outside, the number 22 silver car. John Bennett in the charcoal grey's trying to get up and underneath him in his JHR Developments. That is 2 top tier drivers in the championship, all going side by side, all because of that kerfuffle with Rojon.
Up the inside, the number 11 Bennett looks to the inside of turn 3, can't get that move done. So it is Kuharczyk who's made his way through on John Bennett in all of that. Although I don't think they're all actually in the positions. There's now Headley's looking on the inside a bit, just having a sniff, but not getting it done.
I think that might have been, look, we might be mates, but you pump the brakes there, son. You ain't coming through. With the time left to go in the race, again, we should have 2 laps left to go. Talk us through this replay.
So it looks like Rojon was slow for some reason on the exit. Then there was a small amount of contact. Left front of Rojon touched the left rear of Waberski. Then Bennett was very close, had to brake. Kuharczyk went up the inside, and Colin Queen just got an excellent run on all of them and made it past the whole lot of them.
And making it 3 consecutive top 10 finishes at the moment is Colin Queen. But he have to fend off championship leader Timo Kuharczyk. What a crazy race this has been. Yeah, with the time left to go, we should actually still have the 1 lap. Ignore the +1 at the top of the screen. We will be going on to the final lap of the race next time. But Kuharczyk's gone out wide because he's trying to pass Colin Queen, but he's overdone it a little bit, going down into the Hans-Erd box.
Yeah, this is where Timo Kuharczyk needs to think championship. Championship. Timek, we know you're quick. You've proven it so many times last year and this year. You got in the lead of the championship through consistency. You just need to bring it home safe. Of course, defending is absolutely fine, but we don't need any brash moves and overtaking. Bennett's going to look right. He's going to look left. He's going left on the outside. Can he get the move done around the outside? Kuharczyk's going to squeeze in wide. Good driving from Kuharczyk. That's about as hard as you can go while also being fair, but that's what we want. We want great, hard, close racing, and McQueen is just on... He's just pulling away. What a weekend he's having.
He's honestly been unbelievable this weekend. We are on the final lap of the proceedings, so I do believe we're going to see a first victory for Nikita Johnson. But what dramas we've been seeing behind, what drama in the championship. Like McIntyre's going to be outscoring him a little bit. Kuharczyk's dropping back a little bit, but I mean, he's defending from Bennett quite well.
He is, but actually looks like Bennett's dropped off a little bit in that first sector. And who's that? I was just seeing that Irfan on the back of... Yeah, so Irfan's actually putting a fair amount of pressure on the back of Louis Sharp. So Irfan potentially with some new tyres, using that to his advantage at the end of the race. But this battle that's been going on pretty much the whole race between 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the bottom end of the top 10 is still raging on. There's lots of gravel on the road as people have been pushing hard, but this is our race leader. A dominant victory for Nikita Johnson.
Yeah, he's been absolutely phenomenal, of course. Couldn't do the opening few rounds of the season courtesy of age. His personal best finish before this is 6th position. This is his first ever victory. Welcome to the top step of the GB3 Championship, Nikita Johnson. VRD Racing by Arden, back to the top. Johnson in control, and a victory for him at Zandvoort. Mackenzie Cresswell makes another podium with Pat Hoytzenroder on the podium as well. What a weekend he has had. Hugo Schwarzer, McIntyre, Ping, Sharp, Irfan, Queen, and Kuharczyk does lead over Bennett across the line.
Wow, Headley, then Pearson, She-Jacks, Waberski, Rojan Kulkarni, and Rashid and Murray are your non-finishers. That was as dramatic as we thought it was going to be, Lewis. It was a bit like race number 1 in the way that a lot of the drivers sort of went up and down the field a couple of times. Like Sharp was up, then he lost places, then went back up again. Kuharczyk also made his way past Sharp and then dropped down again with an incident. It was just non-stop action. We had nearly 4 wide racing. We had 2 wide. There's Nikita Johnson's dad, and we spoke to him literally just before the race. He was telling us about the other stuff that Nikita's been doing and all the travelling he does to go racing, and he'll be very, very happy with that one.
Yeah, indeed. And George Brabner, I know, is quite close to the VRD Racing by Arden team, was there as well. Obviously, he's got to get the social media pics and stuff, which he's been doing behind the scenes. Yeah, well, it's all the same, isn't it? Pictures, videos, I'm an old man, it's all the same to me. But what a drive, what an absolutely stunning drive. Whether that's, you know, better tyres than everyone else, it doesn't matter. That was an incredible drive and perfectly executed, and with a good safety car restart as well. Yeah,
well, you say he had better tyres, but he wasn't the only person on new tyres on the grid. There was quite a few drivers with 4 new tyres owing to the wet qualifying session. So a brilliant drive, brilliant pace, composure. He had to get into the start of the race. He didn't lead into turn 3. He was a second or third out of the first corner. It was second, wasn't he, behind, is it Rojan? Remember. So much has happened, it's gone my brain. He's definitely second, made a move into turn 3 and then led from that moment onwards.
Well, we'll take a look at provisional results from the race. Again, we do know a few things are under investigation, including the start for Nikita Johnson. But still, we'll call him as the winner as it is. Mackenzie Cresswell then in second position with Pat Hoytzenroder in third. Hugo Schwarzer in fourth position with Will McIntyre rounding out the top 5. Then it's Ping, Sharp, Irfan, Queen and Kuharczyk inside the top 10. Of course, Kuharczyk's champ rivals being Sharp and being McIntyre. And of course being Bennett, who starts the positions outside of the top 10. He's 11th position, just ahead of James Headley. The two of those were on the podium at the first race of the weekend. A few more struggles in this one though. Ed Pearson in 13th position for a good weekend, to be fair, for Fortec. Gerard Shee down in 14th position with Flynn Jacks, Jared Waberski, Arthur Rojan, Adichie Kulkarni, Sean Rashid rounding out the finishers, and Sebastian Murray retiring from the race. A lot to talk about in that one, but again, I think all the talks will be about him, Nikita Johnson.
Yeah, great drive. Let's run through the grid. I mean, you know, great drive from Nikita Johnson. Mackenzie Cresswell will be very happy with another podium, as will Patrick Hoytzenroder. Hugo Schwarzer, definitely his strongest weekend of the year so far. He kind of stayed out of trouble in that one. We didn't really talk about Hugo Schwarzer. Ended up in 4th place, so great result for the Elite Motorsports driver. Will McIntyre also just keeping out of trouble. Look, excellent move around the outside of turn 1, which he's done a couple of times this weekend. Ping and Sharp, that battle was going on for the whole race. And Colin Queen, another top 10. Well, Nikita Johnson, perfect drive, not a perfect finish. Just stalled on his way to the number 1 board.
Bit embarrassing. embarrassing, isn't it?
I mean, I would rather win the race and then be slightly embarrassed about stalling than not.
Well, let's be honest, one of the most iconic moments in Formula One history was Jenson Button going to completely the wrong place and then having to run round to where he was supposed to be at the 2009 Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can't be perfect for everyone, so it is what it is. But either way, Nikita Johnson, I mean, this is the whole thing. When you get to celebrate as a winner, you have done that, being able to celebrate as a winner. What's it like?
It's cool. You work so hard. All of these drivers work so hard away from the circuit. You know, it's effectively it is a full-time job for all of these guys. They're young professional athletes, racing drivers, and the teams, the parents, the drivers, the coaches, everything. All the effort that goes on behind the scenes is worth it when you win a race, and Nikita very much owned that. And there's Dad. Oh, that's nice to hear. I'm so proud of you. That honestly, not quite as many tears as the British Grand Prix when Lewis Hamilton came over the line, but that could start the waterworks.
Yeah, indeed, certainly. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was in tears at the British Grand Prix. We're not going to talk about that, it's fine. That was, again, a superb drive from Nikita Johnson. I'm sure it'll be fairly emotional in the interview that he'll be having with one Mr. Jon Jackson in a few moments' time. See Hugo Schwarzer there, of course. 4th position for him, but a really solid weekend, of course. He did have a retirement in the previous race and still sounded very positive after it. And that wasn't his fault. He had a great start, went through the middle and had a bit of an incident. There is Mackenzie Cresswell. Of course, we'll be catching up with the entirety of the podium because Jon Jackson is standing by.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lewis. We're just going to watch Nikita putting his hat on. He's got to put the hat on before I can talk to him. Nikita, your first podium here in the GB3 Championship, and you're standing on the top step. How do you feel?
Very good. It's a reverse grid race, but still very happy with it.
And that race, just talk me through it.
Yeah, we had amazing pace all weekend. We missed out qualifying, but you know, with the restart, with the reverse grid, we ended up being second on grid. And I just got to first and ran away with it. I mean, we had a super fast car and it was on rails.
It must be pretty cool doing it. We spoke to your dad just before, but also in front of some of your sponsors as well, and you know, people who are supporting this journey for you.
Yes, I mean, it's always amazing to have them and have people around me that's like that. But you know, my family's back in the States watching, and to go win here, it's very great and special.
Nice one. We'll let you go and continue celebrating with everyone. Nikita Johnson, congratulations, race winner in the GB3 Championship. We're going to go and find Mackenzie Cresswell now. Just say congratulations to Patrick. Mackenzie, your 4th podium of the year. Another good race for you.
Yeah, it was okay. Really tricky race with the tyre deg. Everybody else was on brand new tyres, either brand new lefts or a full set, and I was on the same tyres I was on in race 2. So they've done 2 race starts and a full race distance now, two full race distances. So yeah, it was really tricky. I was just trying to eke them out as much as possible, but yeah, the car allowed me to do that, so I'm really happy.
Awesome stuff. We'll let you go and continue celebrating with everyone before the podium. Mackenzie Cresswell there with Elite Motorsport. And Patrick, we're going to come round and chat to you. We've talked about your car quite a lot this weekend, and it's great that we finally get to chat about you. Talk me through your race.
Yeah, well, I got a really good start. Got the lead into turn 1, and then probably just took the wrong defensive line into turn 3, and Nikita and I were side by side. It was exit curb or 3rd place, so I took 3rd place. And then Mackenzie just got me up in the run to turn 7. You know, it was a hard race, like hard push race. I think we were going flat out the whole time. You know, we had one lap of rest with the safety car, and then back to it. But yeah, I think it was about 3 or 4 of us that were pretty close together.
It must be cool knowing people watching back home, maybe staying up late. I'm guessing it's quite late.
Yeah, well, it'll be like 1 a.m. or something. But yeah, also it's great to get the Hard Rock Cocktails car on the podium as well, because we've all been chatting about it, but nice to see it with the number 3 in front of it.
Yeah, nice to see that collaboration. Nice to see you doing well. Congratulations. We'll let you continue celebrating as we head to the podium. And actually, podium is where we're heading next. A couple of meters to my left, and Lewis McGlade will talk you through it as these guys get rewarded for their great race.
I'm pretty sure Jon Jackson just said calibration, but that's fine. There will be certain calibrations, of course, as they will take to the steps of the podium. Brilliant drives all round, to be perfectly honest. There's Paul Roeder again. He has been on the podium before, but a lovely podium for him to have grabbed. Mackenzie Cresswell, certainly someone who's grabbed a fair few podiums. Sits 64 points off the championship lead. Maybe it's not too far. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously still 9 races left to go. Nikita Johnson, though, onto the top step. What a superb driver and a superb performance from Nikita Johnson so far this season. Obviously, he jumped in for the first round at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Did not do rather the opening 2 races of the championship. But that will be a very sweet one indeed for him to have taken top honours. Of course, we'll see the top 3 come together. Obviously, we'll have to hand out the Sunoco Fastest Lap of the Weekend award as well. Not 100% sure as to who's gathered that one. I would almost suggest it might be John Bennett. It might well be Team Harchick. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, though, before we go to that, we'll go into highlights. Highlights from round 15 in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Josh Erfin leading from pole position, but having a poor start, and Nikita Johnson sneaking his way past, as did Patrick Hoytzenroder, getting to the outside of the first corner and taking over the race lead. A bit of a lock-up on the front right, unfortunately for Hoytzenroder, would almost cost him, but that would have to wait until turn 3, where you go a little bit too high onto the banking. Nikita Johnson sat directly behind, saw one opportunity, and was able to sneak his way through and up into the race lead. Late on in the race, Sebastian Murray had a retirement, which actually brought out a safety car where Nikita Johnson had to defend from Mackenzie Cresswell. A perfect race restart, though, from Nikita Johnson, and he was able to pull clear of the Elite Motorsports driver, Patrick Hoytzenroder, close in tow. The drama, most certainly, though, was not done in this race, as everything being tight, everything being close, everything being cagey for those championship battles behind. Sean Rashid would come into the pit lane for a front wing repair. Meanwhile, all the battling was happening behind. Jared Oberski to the outside of Arthur Rojan, who was struggling at this point, and Oberski being dropped down the order courtesy of that contact. Arthur Rojan basically causing quite the kerfuffle behind, making it 4 wide onto the start-finish straight. Either way, Nikita Johnson would come across the line to take a very impressive victory. Then Mackenzie Cresswell, and of course Patrick Hoytzenroder as well in 3rd. And we'll take a look at provisional standings, of course, before race control have gone through and double-checked everything, dotted the I's, crossed the T's and all that lot. It is close for the championship. Team Harchick will lead on 283 points, 265 for Louis Sharp, 263 for Will McIntyre, 253 for John Bennett. Those are the 4 that we're really talking about in the championship. They're all separated by 30 points. I do think Mackenzie Cresswell, 64 points off the championship lead, is maybe slightly too far behind. Either way, Jared Oberski, despite having a poor qualifying this weekend, has actually had a solid weekend of racing. Finds himself now 6th in the championship, obviously overtaking Ugo Chukwu this weekend, courtesy of Ugo Chukwu not being here. Gerard Chi has had a couple of problems this weekend. James Hedley's had an excellent one. Unfortunately, this 3rd and final race didn't quite live up to expectations, but he finds himself 9th in the championship. Pat Hoytzenroder rounds out the top 10, and to be fair, has looked very strong indeed so far this weekend. That JHR Developments car that seems to be getting stronger and stronger. He seems to be getting more and more comfortable. The podium that he's just picked up as well ends what has been a very successful weekend. Yes, we know he had that retirement in the first race. Fair enough. Mistakes happen. I spoke a little bit to him about that earlier on this morning. Basically, it's just one of those things. The pace that he's shown, 5th place and a 3rd place, shows excellent stuff. And let's go to these two.
I was going to say, those chaps we were watching there, and they're actually coming back now, so you might be able to see them again. Nikita Johnson's dad, Obi, who we spoke to before, the man with the excellent goatee beard there with Nikita Johnson, and also his sponsors. So we can come around here and take a look at them. They're just taking some photos here and celebrating. I'm just going to get out of the way of a car coming behind me here. These guys having a crazy year, travelling around off to Toronto to continue competing in America and Canada, North America, let's say. Nice father and son photo there. I'm sure the father will be keeping the Prosecco, given the son's age, of course. Did you get to keep your Prosecco, Piers? I was saying that obviously Nikita probably can't have that Prosecco.
No, it was a long time ago now.
I think it's Prosecco, I don't know. Well, they're going to walk off there. The other 2 chaps were Nikita's sponsors, who are very happy to be here. Let's chat to some drivers. Go and chat to Will McIntyre.
You can hear, because a lot of loud cars. Will McIntyre made some excellent moves in that race just gone, moving up the grid. I'll get to you in a sec. I'll try now. I don't think they can hear you. Yeah. Anyway, Will. No, we can hear. They can hear at home. Will, talk to us about the race. We saw one of your tasty moves around the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, I had a decent start, didn't make up any position. Well, I think I made up 1 position or whatever, but yeah, then from then on I was had Arthur in front. Didn't even try to go for the overtake, but he defended and I just went round his outside. So yeah, I seem to like that move a lot this weekend, but it seemed to work out quite well. So yeah, from then on it was just a little draft fest where I caught up to the pack in front, like a 2nd in 1 lap, and then from then on I couldn't do anything because of the dirty air in the last corner. So it was a good race, a good amount of points, and I think I'm back to 2nd in a championship. So I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the championship hunt. It's been an interesting last few rounds in the championship. Hungary and here, looked like it's been going, high-tech's way with you and Timek, and then it's gone to Louis Sharp, and then, of course, the incident in race 2, and then 2 incidents in race 2 put Timek back at the lead of the championship. But I think it's going to be to and fro until the end of the year, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's quite clear that us four, Jon, me, Timek, and Louis are quite out there battling. And John's sort of come back in the last couple of rounds, so fair play to him. He's done a really good job. And yeah, between me, Louis, and Timek, it's just been whoever's got the luck that weekend. And last week, it was Louis' turn. This week it was Timek's turn. So next week it might be my turn. You just never know what's going to happen, I guess. So yeah, incidents that were out of our control for me and Louis, which in race 2 today, but yeah, it's a good close fight, which is always good to watch.
Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. Feeling good for that?
Yeah, home circuit, can't wait.
Brilliant. Well, we'll let you go and celebrate a decent result and a good haul of points after what was a tricky race 2 in that one just there.
Excellent stuff. We're going to walk and talk now because they're pushing the cars past us. So rather than you dodging cars, Piers, I feel like we'll just get out of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Don't really want to lose an ankle this late in the weekend, but hey, what an awesome race.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's nice to see exciting racing. The weather didn't affect things too much either, which is always nice, given that the weather was pretty terrible before. Shout out to cameraman Tom, by the way, just navigating things with us, because when you've got a camera, it's quite hard to see cars. We were going to try and find Timek Archik. He's got an 18-point lead in the championship going into Silverstone, but I think everyone was just catching an early flight home or something like that, because everyone other than the drivers we've spoken to already, they've slammed down the shutters, and the lorries are being packed up. I mean, normally they get things packed up really quite quickly, but this seems to be hyper speed now. So yeah, I don't think we're going to have any more drivers, but obviously GB3 Championship website is the place where it's at for Randy's race report. We'll also see all the social media. We'll see loads of great images throughout the next day or so. We'll see highlights on there as well if you missed the highlights of this race, and you can watch this race back in full on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever you're watching right now, basically. We'll be back in 2 weekends' time then at Silverstone. We've got 3 different racetracks to go: Silverstone, Donington, Brands Hatch. The GB3 Championship really hotting up. At the top of 3 are separated by a mere handful of points.
It is.
One race win possibly. So I mean, it's all to play for, isn't it? So thank you very much, Piers. Thanks to all the crew as well, and we'll see you 2 weeks' time at Silverstone.